On today's Glory Day show, the Pittsburgh Penguins have won their second consecutive Stanley Cup, and the newest NHL team, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, have filled their roster with a player from every NHL team. Hockey maven Pete Torgerson will join us to break things down for us.
The Mets and Yankees are in a free-for-all. The Jets released their most tenured player, who then gets picked up by the Patriots.
The Evil Empire.
And the Knicks are talking about trading their only good player, Kristaps Porzingis. What is going on in the world of New York sports?
Good question. In our Did You Hear About segment, we'll talk about the NBA putting sponsor logos on their game jerseys and New York radio sports personality Mike Francesca getting in trouble for a supposed racial slur.
The best hour of your sports week is coming up on Glory Days right now.
Inravio.com.
Hello again, everybody. Today is Saturday, June 24th, 2017, and you are watching The Glory Day Show with Bruce and Disco. My name is Paul Discofani, and this is my good friend, Bruce Oler. And you are joining us, oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, Anthony Mazzallo and the new guy, Mike Ruggiero.
Can you spell that for me?
We're still pronouncing it wrong, and I wrote it down. They're behind the glass, and you are joining us on the Inravio TV network, where we stream live from Studio C right here in the great state of New York. Good morning.
How are you?
All righty. I broke my glasses.
You broke your glasses?
These are new. Well, no, you know what these are? These are my spares.
I see. A contingency plan you have. It's
always
good to have a contingency plan.
I always have a spare. I take it with me when I go on vacation.
A spare pair.
A spare pair. And I keep them in my car, just in case, something happens or whatever. I can still drive home.
It looks like it's smudged there a little bit.
Yeah, they're a little dirty.
All right.
But I actually broke them in half. It's not like I stepped on it.
Uh-huh. You broke them in half?
I was just, I was like going like
taking
this,
them off?
And no, I was cleaning them. And next thing I knew, it snapped in half.
Wow.
So
how long have you had them? Maybe they're just brittle?
I had them a couple of years, but...
Yeah.
It's the first time I've ever broken one. And you know how I would have had to fix them? You know how the nerdy, it was right there on the crown, it would have that big piece of tape? I figured it wasn't a good look to tell you.
Not at all. So I did not have a great week this week.
I know you didn't, and I didn't want to bring it up unless you wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, I got a text message from my wife Thursday morning that my dog Munchkin was no longer with us. Died Wednesday night. So very sad. I mean, was with us for 15 years, and they talk about dogs being your best friend.
Yeah,
they are.
Well, were you before you had Munchkin? Did you have pets before that?
In the house, we had.
We had pets outside the house?
No. Well, I think we had a fish maybe at one time when we were living in Central Islip.
I don't know if fish count as pets.
But
fish wag your tail when they get when you get
No. That's the only dog we ever had. And I wound up seeing a neighbor who has two Bijans. Munchkin was a Bijan. And so I went over. I saw her walking around yesterday, and I went over and told her, and she started crying. So
yeah.
it.
Well, people who are dog people or even cat people, although cats stink. No, I don't mean that. People that are dog people understand. I've had dogs most of my life when I was, even when I was at my mother's house and You know, we've always had dogs. My wife was always a dog person, so we've always had dogs. You know, and it's an emotional experience.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about he got sick that one time where he had these bladder stones and he couldn't urinate. So I took him over, you know, to a emergency place, and they X-rayed him and they said, "This is what we're going to do." And in the meantime, this other family comes in and they said, "You got to put my dog down," you know, and. So I guess they brought him in the room, you know, and did kind of a last rites thing, and that's it. So I mean, we didn't do that with him, and I'm not sure, you know, if that would have been any different, you know.
No.
Yeah.
No. If you know, when you have to go to put a pet down, so to speak, although that's a terrible thing, you know, it's a horrible experience. You know, there's this thing that's been your friend.
Yeah.
For a long time. 15 years is a long time, you know?
But,
So
you know, a couple of things I was thinking about, you know. I don't know about you, but I've done some dumb things in front of my dog over the years, you know. He said, thank God, dogs can't talk. You know what I mean? But sometimes, you know, you kind of wish they could because they could tell you what's bothering them, you know. And I know at the end, you know, he was not all that comfortable. So.
Well, what did you do in front of your dog?
I'm not saying.
You mean he took it to the grave?
Yes, he did. You know, and then I think about, you know, I think it was President Bush that, you know, at the holidays he put the camera on his dog, Barney, right? It was the Barney cam or something is what it was. You know? So, you know, that would be interesting, you know.
Well, you know, there's an animated movie that came out during the summer called The Secret Life of Pets.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And it was really very funny. It was very entertaining because I often do wonder, you know, I mean, a lot of times you leave the dog by themselves in the house. You often wonder what are they up to? What are they thinking about? You know, and it was funny. Louis C.K. was the main dog.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty good movie. Yeah, that's a pretty good movie.
He's sitting there going, and he's just staring at the door when the owner walks out. And he's just standing at the door. And from the window across the street is his friend dog. And she says, what are you going to do today? He says, I have a great day planned. I'm just going to sit here and wait for them to come home. She goes, that sounds like a great day.
Yeah, I know. It makes you think a little about reincarnation, you know? I mean, I think I would like to come back as a dog, okay? I'm going on record as saying that right now, you know?
Listen, what other type of an animal? I mean, of course, you'd have to be a dog that gets adopted.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Right? But if you did get adopted, they feed you, they take care of you, but the best part is they walk around behind you with a little plastic bag. You know, if somebody once said that if aliens ever came onto this planet, they would think that dogs ruled the world.
I know. Who else is walking behind somebody and picking up after themselves, you know?
Well, Godspeed, Munchkin.
Yeah.
You know, so here's the question. Are you getting another dog?
No, you know, Chris had said some time ago.
Well, whose idea was the dog in the beginning?
I think it was Chris's.
Okay.
It was Chris's.
Was she a dog person?
I don't.
You know if she had a dog growing up?
I think she had a dog, Sibby, I think was the dog's name. You know, that was a long time before I knew her. You know, so she was really young then. But you know, she had done the research and came up with the Bichon. Now, you know, one thing about the Bichon, you know, first of all, I love because it had white hair, but it had white hair right from the beginning, you know. Most dogs, like people, you know, you could see that they're starting to get gray. You realize they're getting old, you know. And that was one of the things about him is that, you know, he was 15, but he looked like, to me, like the same day we brought him home. He was always white, you know.
Yeah, well, you've been white for 35 years.
Yeah, you know. I've been white my whole life, to tell you the truth, Disco.
All righty.
So it was, like you say, rest in peace there, Munchkin.
Yeah. Are you putting a little plaque up in the backyard for him?
Well, I'm not sure what we're doing yet. I know that we got his paw print, you know, as part of...
That's pretty good.
Yeah. We took him back to the vet because Justin wanted to bury him in the backyard. I don't know what you...
I don't think you're allowed to.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, nobody would know.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that.
Yeah. Well, Chris said, we're not doing that. Of course, she's the boss, you know, so...
Listen, I saw the movie Pet Sematary. Okay, I didn't want to bury the dog in the backyard.
Well, she said that basically when she brought it back to the vet, there were two options. I think one is basically we'll get rid of it, and it's $100 or something like that. We'll give you a paw print and some other stuff.
Oh, really? They do a paw print?
Yeah, they did. They took an impression,
That would
and
have been
basically
nice.
it's in this little box with a book, looks like a book, So I think that was I don't know, 100 or something like that. And then there was a ceremony where you get the ashes. They would give back the ashes afterwards.
I don't want to
that
go
was
that far.
$250, I think, is what it was.
I don't want to go that far.
I know.
That's
I know.
a little,
Extreme.
yeah.
Extreme. It's when people that have money to burn.
No. I mean, listen, I have always loved our dogs.
Yeah.
Every one of them. They were always part of the family, without a doubt. And it was very, very difficult when they passed.
Yeah, for sure.
And we have a little plaque in the backyard for Harry. Because he was the king of that backyard.
There you go.
No squirrel or bird would ever set foot in that backyard when he was out there.
Yeah.
And the same thing now with Louis. Louis patrols the backyard, and when it comes to a squirrel, forget it.
Yeah.
Squirrels are even afraid to walk on the top of the fence when Louis is out there. So, all righty. So,
Mets and Yankees?
you know what?
Well, the Mets won last night, although I'll tell you what, I made sure I watched most of that game.
Every week in the opening tease, I say I want to talk about the Mets, and then I just don't want to talk about them.
Yeah.
I hate them with all my heart and soul.
Yeah. Well, last week, they had the miraculous game against the Cubs where it looked like they were going to turn the season around, and then they lost 3 out of 4 to Washington. And then the Dodgers just handed them their lunch all week, man. I mean, every time I turned those games on, because they started at 10 o'clock. So
They hit 15 home runs in 4 games.
unbelievable.
15 home
I
runs.
mean, every time I turned the game on, it was 4-0. It was the first inning, 4-0. What's going on, man?
15 home runs.
Yeah.
The most the Mets have ever given up in a 4-game series. Ever.
Wow.
And that includes the 1962 Mets, who only won 40 games. They lost 120 games. Just, and I don't know. What's the answer?
Well, the Post is saying they should sell. Basically, they got 4 guys on the thing here. It's Reed, it's Lucas Duda, Curtis Granderson, Jay Bruce. Says, trade them now. Don't be standing at the altar. Trade these guys now and get something for them.
And what are you going to do with them? What are
Well-
you going to do with the guys you get?
Well, they're talking about getting prospects, but they say
Are we going back into rebuilding mode?
They say the only guys they shouldn't get rid of are their pitchers.
You got 2 years.
With the
Those are
worst
only guys that are
ERA,
hurt.
the second worst ERA, I think, in all of baseball.
At this point,
They should hang on to their pitchers. That's a good idea.
Other than DeGrom,
Yeah.
who would trade for anybody? Would you make a trade for Matt Harvey tomorrow?
No.
Right?
No.
So
I like Steven Matz, though. I think, he didn't pitch a bad game.
No, he didn't pitch
Thursday.
bad.
But again, there's no, and the Mets have stopped hitting too. Except for, last night they had 20 hits, I believe.
Well, you know what? That's a really bad team.
Yeah.
So now what are we looking forward to? The fact that we're going into a 10-game stretch against 3 really bad teams? Is that what we got to look forward to now?
That's what we have to look forward to, Disco.
You're 12 games now behind. Do you realize that night, that first game against Washington, they're only 5 games behind them.
Really?
At the time.
Yeah.
If they could have taken, obviously, they could have taken a couple of those games or whatever.
Yeah.
Now they're 12 games behind them.
Yeah. They have fallen like a rock. They really have.
And it's unbelievable. So you know what? How are other people losing their job? How does Dan Warthen still keeping his job? You know who I heard they're talking about?
Who?
Frank Viola.
Frank Viola, really?
Frank Viola is a pitching coach in the organization.
Yeah.
I think he's, and you know who's been a manager in the organization?
Howard Johnson?
Gardo Alfonso.
Oh, really? Yeah. That'd be interesting.
But you know what? They're not going to do anything. They're just not.
I mean, I really thought a couple weeks ago that Terry Collins was going to be gone.
Yeah, but that's never going to happen. And you know what else? Now now at least the Yankees are not doing well, even though they won.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's the silver lining in it all, isn't it?
Yes, go ahead. Tell me they're doing well. Yeah, I saw that game Thursday. They had a 5-1 lead.
Yeah.
It was just awful. And so, so what's going to happen to baseball in
For
New
the
York?
New York fan, I think the Yankees will right the ship.
Nah, they're done.
Yeah, they will.
No, they put on a good show for a while, but they don't have the pitching.
Well,
the Mets have a better chance.
If Tanaka can turn it around, man, and he pitched a good game last night.
Nah, they don't have the pitching. They're done. I'm telling you right now, they're done. Finished.
I'm
I'm
not sure
telling you they're done.
I'm not sure I agree with you there, Disco.
Although I got to say, Aaron Judge is something else.
Yeah, he is.
That guy is.
Although, tell you what, watching the Dodgers though, this guy Bellinger, I think he's better than Aaron Judge, man. You think about it.
Yeah.
How many home runs does that guy have? 25 or something?
25, yeah.
Yeah.
If he plays,
And he didn't start the season, I don't think, with the Dodgers either, though.
no. Well, you know what? The thing is, every other team likes to promote their prospects.
Yeah. I know. Not the Mets, right? Rosario is
No, we're
still
going
down
to
now.
keep him in the minor leagues because when he comes up, we want him to stay up. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, what happened with Conforto? They brought him up, right?
Yeah.
He played pretty good,
He played great. He led them to the World Series. He hit 2 home runs in a World Series game. Oh,
Yeah.
and then they had to send him down the next year. So what?
Yeah. So now twice, I think.
Let him
right?
down twice. Who cares?
He
Look at
seems
what
to be
the-
doing okay now, right?
Yeah, but when they brought him up,
Yeah.
he created a spark.
Yeah.
And he excited the team that needed to be. Right now, that's what they need more than anything right now.
I agree.
Because right now they're just going, I can't take them.
Well,
And don't
there's
worry-
always hockey, my friend.
Well, yeah. And there's also, in 2 weeks, football training camp.
Football training camp. Okay. Well, okay. Actually, it's kind of interesting. Woody Harrelson. Woody Johnson
Is gonna be
he's
the
being
ambassador.
he's been fingered by the Trump administration to be the ambassador to Great Britain, I believe,
I
and Northern Ireland, really.
And so, what happens with the Jets this year? Besides the fact that
It's a rebuilding year for them too.
they have no quarterback. Just going to give you the quick list of who they released. Eric Decker. Mm-hmm. He signed with Tennessee.
Yeah. Brandon Marshall's gone.
Brandon Marshall, right? Mm-hmm. Nick Mangold,
Yeah.
their kicker. Darrell Revis. Okay. And what are they shooting for? Are they shooting for the draft? The last thing?
I think
And
they
of
are.
course, they released David Harris a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. He winds up with the Evil Empire.
They actually signed him.
It's tough being a New York fan sometimes, man. It really is.
They actually signed him to a 2-year deal worth $6.75 million. That was actually more than the Jets were offering.
Yeah. He's a guy that knows their defense pretty well, too. You know what I mean? So Belichick's going to be sitting him down and going through, what their strategy is and things like that,
So, I don't know. And then the Knicks.
Yeah, another train wreck. Another train wreck.
By the way, actually, you had that picture of the newest guy?
Oh,
this is who they
Frenchie?
picked. This is the Frenchie.
Frenchie. I don't know, this is like the second year in a row they took some European player, right? I mean, and
All right, now, I by the way, I've
You've done some
figured out
research?
the pronunciation. I looked it up.
Okay.
Put that back up for a second. Okay. Pronounce that name.
Tilkenia.
No.
Okay.
Actually, somebody tweeted that the best part about the
Tilikina.
Knicks
Yeah.
getting this guy
Yeah.
was listening to Mike Francesa try and pronounce his name over the next 6 months. It is pronounced Nilikina. The T is silent. So
course.
my question is, what's it there for? It's not like knife.
Yeah. Better boom.
Anyway, here, I just wanted to read you something. I know we're running up against the break here. Okay, so his name is Frank Nilikina.
Yeah.
He's from France, just like the Coneheads. He is
Like the Coneheads.
6'5". He's 6'5", 190 pounds.
Okay.
But he has a 7'3" wingspan.
Okay.
Is what they call it, right? But this is what Phil Jackson said about him. The big thing we liked about him is he's got size.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he was a shortstop, 6'5", 190, that's not size in the NBA. Isn't 6'5" short?
Well,
How tall is John Starks?
What position is he playing? He's playing guard, right?
He's a guard, but I don't care.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Don't guards have to go up against the big people, too?
Well, I mean...
On defense, right?
Usually guard's a guard, Disco.
He said, our game is really about length and activity, and we have to have more of a defensive presence, which is absolutely true. They were like one of the worst defensive teams ever. So, of course, they've got Porzingis, who's from Latvia.
Yeah.
Did you know that they have a guy from Spain?
I did not know that.
Willie Hernan Gomez.
Okay.
Okay. And they also have a Lithuanian.
Yeah, I don't understand why we don't have more Americans on his team. I really don't.
I asked about that.
Yeah.
And this is what Phil Jackson told me.
Phil Jackson told you?
Yes. He says he prefers the development of players in the European leagues because, he says, in Europe, they learn to play the team style.
Yeah.
Okay, which, of course, he's Mr. Triangle.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But he says when they play in college, it's all about being an individual, and it's all about...
Well, this is really working out well so far, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, how long has he been a GM for? Which is like a third year?
Well, that's what I don't understand. You know...
we got to be patient.
But then again,
I guess,
maybe this will work.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, in college, they have the problem that they're having in college right now is they're calling it the one and done syndrome, where the NBA put in a rule, but okay, the NBA put in a rule a couple of years ago about to prevent you from drafting kids straight out of high school.
Okay.
Okay, so they said you either had to be 19 years old, right?
Yeah.
So, or you had to have completed at least 1 year in college, okay? Or you could have played a year of pro ball internationally, which is what this kid did, okay? But what happens is they go to college, as a freshman, 9 of the first 10 draft choices were one and dones this year.
Okay.
You know, that's a lot.
Well, all right. Enough basketball. I think it's time for us to go to a break. I think
we'll take a break.
Okay.
All right, we're going to take a short break here on the Glory Day Show. When we get back, we'll get to the ice.
Pete
Torgerson. We'll wrap up the Stanley Cup Playoffs. We'll talk about the NHL's newest team and the process of the expansion draft. Stay with us. You watch the Glory Day Show with Bruce and Disco only on the Inravio TV network. Coming right back.
Hey, this is Chris Jake, and if Inravio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansonCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered.
Welcome back to the Glory Days Show with Bruce and Disco here on the Inravio TV network. While we were away, the Pittsburgh Penguins became the first franchise since the 1997-98 Detroit Red Wings to win consecutive Stanley Cups, dispatching the neophyte, interesting word there, the Nashville Predators in 6 games. Earlier this week, the NHL held an expansion draft to populate the roster of team number 31. the new Las Vegas Golden Knights, who begin play in the 2017-18 season. Teams were allowed to protect players, but had to also expose players for the draft. Some even made trades with Vegas to protect even more players. Then the NHL removed the roster freeze, and teams began making trades to better position themselves for the upcoming draft. On our phone is a man that will try to make sense of all things happening in the NHL, our guru, Pete Torgerson. Pete, how are you, my friend?
Great. How we doing, gentlemen?
Good, good.
Congratulations on your daughter's graduation.
Thank you. Big bash tomorrow. I'll pouring rain putting the tent up, but that's all right. Other than
I
that,
see.
okay.
Oh, it's going to rain there tomorrow? It's supposed to be really nice here tomorrow.
No, 85 and sunny tomorrow, but there's a storm coming through now, so
Yeah, that's what happened with us, too.
all good.
All good. All right, so, you felt right from the beginning that Pittsburgh was going to win this whole thing.
Thank you.
I tell you, Sidney Crosby won his second Conn Smythe. Conn Smythe is for the MVP in the playoffs. Second year he's won that. He won it last year too. And we still have all these Sidney haters out there, Pete.
It's amazing.
It blows my mind. It really does.
They all have to come over to the dark side. Did you see what he did to Subban when he punched his head?
Oh, yeah.
He was dribbling his head on the ice.
Yeah, and nobody did anything. And it's the same thing. The year before, he slashed Thornton. He started a fight at the end of Game 5. He just gets his team going. He is the best player in hockey, and he makes plays.
Now, can I ask you a question? There's, I've seen the video, and the referee was standing right behind him watching it. What would you have done in that situation?
Play on. You know what?
Play on.
Because Subban probably gave him 2 or 3 whacks, and he said, "You know what? Here we go. It's on." And then Subban rolled him over. It's all good. Just play on. This is big boys. You guys settle it yourself. And
they always talk about some of my hater friends. They always have a picture of Sidney Crosby in a crib. Saying he's a big baby,
Right.
but. I mean, how can you say he's a baby when he does stuff like that, man?
We were chanting Princess Crosby.
Yeah.
He takes more of a beating than any player in the league. We watch him go to the net. Everybody's slashing, biting, kicking him, and he just goes, battles through it, makes plays. He's unbelievable.
He's great. And you know what else? I didn't realize this about him until pretty recently. You know how big he is?
How big is he?
5'11". He's not a big guy.
He's 5'11".
So that means he's 5'9", 5'10".
Yeah, that might be.
I thought he was this big guy, man, but he's not.
No.
He just plays big.
And that's a nice team. Just the way they're set up. You can't say enough about that whole program.
Yeah.
But did you see the Showtime where they have behind the scenes and everybody's mic'd up?
Yes.
And after that Subban play, Lavallette's like, "Oh yeah, don't call anything. It's Sidney. Yep, don't bother him."
I didn't see that one. I haven't seen. I guess that must have been the last one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see the last one.
The other good one was when Subban snuck up on him. So this is why when it gets to that point when he's pounding his head into the ice, everybody says, "Oh, why don't they call anything?" So Subban creeps up on Crosby, and he's yelling, "F you, I'm gonna F you," right? And Crosby turns around and goes, "F you, you're an effing loser," And it's just that's going on all the time, and people don't know what's going on. Why didn't the ref call this? Well, there's 57 things that led up to it or didn't lead up to it, and they have to make decisions.
Earlier in the series, I kind of remember Subban had bad breath. He was blowing. He was breathing at Crosby's face, trying to do anything he could, man, to take him off his game.
Listen, my wife is a police officer, or was.
Yeah.
She was a police officer. She says, and the thing that she really doesn't like as what's been happening in the world the last couple of years is you are only seeing the end game.
Yeah.
When somebody gets something on film, he says you don't see everything that led up to that
Very true.
moment.
Very true.
She says, and at that moment, she says, you know, even if you're just chasing a guy in a car, you're so amped up because you're like, what are you doing? Why were you doing this? You just want to grab him and shake him, and you know. So I can only imagine what's going on. What was that referee, that football referee, when he said he was giving him the business, right?
Giving him the business, yeah. And you know, another big thing, like you talk about, you only see the end of the video. Like coaches send in a video, oh, he missed this, you know, he didn't call this. And some good supervisors always say, send in the whole game tape.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I don't want to just see, you know, 7 seconds of something that happened in a flash. You know, show what led up to it. Show what happened in the flow of the game. Show where
it's all taken out of context there, Pete. You know, kind of like the false media out there.
By the way, Pete, I wanted to ask you because I read about a rule change for the offside challenge this year.
Yeah.
They were talking about if the team is wrong, they're going to give them
penalty.
a 2-minute delay of game penalty.
All right.
You know,
they got to get rid of that. If you have to look at something for 15 minutes, that one call that the guy made in the skate might have been a half inch off the ice. Those linesmen are the best. You know, they go back to when the Islanders. Do you remember when the Islanders?
Of course, they was about 6 feet off sides, man.
Yeah, with 6 feet offside, the guy was having a popcorn and a beer with the guy in the second row. That's when the ice was low. And he missed that. You know, you don't have that anymore. And you know what? If I'm a linesman and I got to go look at a video and find out that I'm 1/8 of an inch off, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what they're going to start doing? They're just going to start letting everything go, and then go review it if you think you have a problem.
You know,
it's just bad all around. Let them play.
And I don't like it. I never liked it because I don't understand about the flow of the play. You know, apparently there's a 90-second limit.
Oh, is there?
Between the time that the offside supposedly occurred and if a goal scored.
90 seconds.
90 seconds.
Well,
But the NHL...
That's still a pretty long time.
The NHL did a review, and they said of the reviews, they said more than 70% of them, the goal scored in 10 seconds, within 10 seconds of the offside. But here's my question, Pete. Let's say a team is going in and they go in offside, and they don't, you know, they go in what seems like offside and it's not called offside, and the other team gets the puck, breaks down the ice, and scores. Could that first team challenge and say, hey, you know, that play should have been called offsides, so therefore the other goal shouldn't count?
No, that's not in the You can't do it that way. But I'll tell you something that did happen. We had once where it was at Harvard. The guy went down and scored, and the ref missed it, and then they thought it hit the post, so the other team picks it up, comes down, and they score. So now you got to they go to the video, they had to take away the goal that the team got scored on, and then they had to award the goal and set the time back. Yeah, it was a disaster. That's why I'm not a fan of all the instant replays. And then you see in the Penguin series where they blew the horn because it went in. They saw it in the video. Yeah. And then on the same token, why can't you go to when the guy blew the call, when he blew the whistle too soon? Why couldn't you just say, oh, you know what, that's a goal, which they did earlier in the year. So there's nothing in stone. It's still in the learning stages, and it just adds too much.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay, getting back to the hockey, you know, with the Penguins, you know, they didn't have Bonino in those last games. You know, he's a key to that team.
Yeah.
Hazy stepped up. They were playing without Letang for a long time. Mata was playing terribly, but guys like Schultz stepped up. Brian Dumoulin, he's a Boston College kid. Man, he really stepped up this year. So, you know, the Penguins could be back again next year.
Well, that was the next question. Do you think this team can make it 3 in a row? You think they could win another Stanley Cup? Let's put it there. They're obviously going to be a good enough team next year. They're going to get probably deep into the playoffs, but can they win another Stanley Cup?
Yeah, it depends. It depends if they're peaking at the right time and all that other good stuff.
So who do you like?
The answer is why not? Of course.
Who do you like next year if it's not going to be the Penguins?
Well, you know, the Blackhawks got bumped out early. They've just made some changes. They brought Saad back. I like Columbus. Columbus had a great year.
Yeah.
The Rangers, I think, are done. You know, I don't think Kreider can be the leader of that team. And
It's too bad. I mean, that guy, he makes me scratch my head all the time because he
he's a
has
local
the
kid,
potential to be the most dominant player in the game, well, one of the most dominant players in the game. And there are just stretches where that guy disappears, man.
You know who I like? I like Edmonton.
Yeah, Edmonton's got a good team.
I like Edmonton.
But all I can say is, here's my catchphrase. Make the Islanders great again.
You know what? The Islanders only finished 2 points behind Nashville. So
Yep.
they're not far off.
Yep.
And I think Eberle's going to help.
I think so too. Now, here's something interesting with the Islanders. Last year, weren't they talking about it was like the worst kept secret? They were trying to trade Travis Hamonic, right? They were trying to accommodate.
Well, he
him.
wanted to be. He wanted to be traded.
So what's the deal with that now, though? I mean, you know, I kind of saw a headline that Toronto is targeting him. They want to get him.
Hey, can you guys hold on 1 second?
Sure.
I got.
All right,
Keep
we'll talk
talking, I'll be
amongst
right
ourselves. So, how are you? Well, you're right because, but I think if they're going to trade him, they want to trade him to a West Coast team because apparently.
Well,
that's where he
that
wanted
was
to
his
be.
wish, I guess, is what it was. You know?
Right. So if they could trade him to a West Coast team, you know what? Again, other than Tavares, and one of the things I'm concerned about Tavares is that he's going to be a free agent next year, after next year. So I'm not saying that they should trade Tavares, okay? But if they're going to trade,
I lost you guys. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
But if they're going to trade anybody, you know what I mean? There's plenty of things they could do. Now, this whole thing with the trade that they made with
Las
Vegas. The thing that I didn't like, and you and I were talking about it before, the thing that I didn't like about it was not the players. I have no problem with the players. The fact that they gave up not one but 2 draft choices just so that they wouldn't take either DeHaan or Strome or whatever. Now, I don't know, maybe because they had this Edmonton deal already on the table.
Yeah. You know, when I was looking at who they protected and who they didn't, you know whose name I don't recall saying?
Who?
Hosang.
Okay, well, and I'm going to tell you why not.
All right, good.
Okay, because this is what they were allowed to do. Okay, they did not have to protect or expose any 1 or 2 year player.
Okay, really?
And they didn't have to expose any unsigned draft choice. They only had to have, they had to protect a player who had a no movement contract. So if you had a no trade clause, you had to be
automatic.
one of the protected. Okay, so.
So I'll tell you, how about Hosang, Tavares, and Eberle on the same line, man?
Well, you know what? I don't know if that would be a regular line, but that could certainly be a freaking good power play line.
For sure.
You know.
Hey, when you're talking about getting rid of the draft picks, this draft is weak, and next year's isn't supposed to be anything special.
Yeah, I know, Pete. When Disco
anything.
made that comment on Facebook, what are the Islanders doing? You said this is a good move, is what you said.
Yeah, no question, because you're keeping your core. They realize they have a nice core there, and they don't want to disrupt it. You know, they lost the goalie, big deal. Hamonic, there's something up with that he wanted to get back to like the Calgary, get it back to Alberta. But you know, he might end up staying. But right now, the Islanders have like 9 defensemen, and they have the kid Tay down in Bridgeport who played at Quinnipiac, and I think, you know, he might be ready too. So, you know, they're legit on the defensive side. You know, and I think half their problems is they play in their whole setup with going back and forth to Brooklyn, back and forth to the island. That takes 6 games out of them a year. And you could say what you want. It's like when the old days when the Rangers used to practice in Long Island and go to the Garden and all this.
I think it takes a lot out of you. I know as a fan it takes a lot out of you.
And you know, who knows what's going to happen? I think they're playing an exhibition game at the Coliseum.
The first exhibition game.
But that's it.
Yeah.
They're not playing at the Coliseum at all, man.
You know,
they got to get back. You know, the Nassau Coliseum looks like a spaceship now. So why can't they blow up the inside and, you know?
What they used to call it, the mausoleum.
The mausoleum.
Yeah. So, but
you know, the Islanders was the only team that took that. You know, the teams were given 2 different strategies to protect their players, okay? You either had to protect 7 forward, 3 defensemen, and a goalie for a total of 11 players. But if you didn't want to do that, you could protect any combination of 8 players and a goalie, okay? So if you did it with 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and a goalie, you were allowed to protect 11. But if you didn't want to do that, which the Islanders were the only team that chose that option, Pete, because you were saying that they had a lot of defensemen that they wanted to protect. They only got to protect 9 guys.
Yeah.
You know, so that I guess that necessitated.
Well, and I assume they protected Letty and Johnny Boychuk?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those guys have...
Well, they had to protect, I believe, Boychuk, because Boychuk has a no-trade.
No trade.
But like I said, the guys that they exposed were guys like DeHaan and Strome and the other kid, Pulak.
Yeah, I saw they protected Brock Nelson. I think he's going to be a great player, too.
But,
And plus, plus they freed up like $5 million in cap room.
Right.
And,
which they needed when they made the Berube trade.
Right. Yeah, so they're in a real good place. They could still pick up another guy. You know, I couldn't rattle anybody off the top of my head, but there's got to be, somebody floating around that could bring Matt Molson back, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
You see the Penguins picked up Ryan Reeves, the big tough guy from St. Louis?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? No one's going to push those guys around. Put him on Malkin or Sheary, Sidney, and him on a line.
And that's something that I don't believe the Islanders have right now. They don't have anybody to protect anybody.
Yeah, it's just they lost Matt Martin. That was a huge loss because that guy, he does so much for the area and he's involved in the area. That's like when the Bruins lost Thornton.
And he was dating Boomer's daughter, I think. Boomer Esiason's daughter.
Right.
On.
That's
all the reason to stick around, man. Okay.
You know what, by the way, they ended up with Nashville ended up with 14 additional draft choices spread out over the next 3 drafts with all the teams that they traded with.
Really?
And they ended up with 3 first-round picks. The 6th, the 13th from Winnipeg. They had their own was the 6th. They had the 13th pick from Winnipeg, and they got the 15th pick from the Islanders. So they had 3.
Who's that? Las Vegas?
Las Vegas, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you said Nashville.
Yeah, you know what? They have to do that because they're building.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you know what? And you know what? Looking at their roster, I don't think they're going to be terrible.
No, and guess what? They're going to be 40-0 at home because they're going to have the teams come out the night before. They're going to girls over to the hotel.
Hey, Pete, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, man.
There you go. Guess what? A lot of wives are going to be saying, maybe I'll take a trip this year.
Yeah, there we go.
I always wanted to go to Arizona. Oh, you're playing in Las Vegas that weekend? Oh, I'll go too. All right.
All righty, man.
Very good, Pete.
We got to go.
Thanks for your insight, man. Good talking to you.
What do I win a Cadillac or anything for picking the Penguins?
You can't. We can't do that because you win the car every year. This year it's just cash.
Vegas for crying out loud.
Yeah, here we go.
You know what? That wouldn't be a bad thing. You're going to Las Vegas. If you're going to go anyway, how great would it be to go when there's a game?
That's true.
Oh,
you know why? Because it'll be air conditioned in there.
You know what? That's going to be a destination. That, you're going to. They'll play the Rangers. The place will be 20%, 30% Ranger fan.
Yeah, but you know what? They're going to sell out every game.
Yeah.
I think they sell out every game, and I think that we're going to find that.
A good move by the NHL there. Huh?
The same thing's going to happen when the NFL team gets there.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that it's going to be a closed stadium because there's no way they could have an open air stadium there. But if they decide to do that for a baseball team too, it'd be the same exact thing. Although it'd be worse because they're in town for a couple of days.
What do they say? Viva Las Vegas. Okay.
All right,
Pete. Good talking to you, my friend.
It'll be the same when they become the Quebec Islanders. They'll be about everything. So.
Don't say that.
Keep it up, Pete. Keep it up. All right.
I'm telling you.
Listen, like I said, if the Islanders leave, I'll become a Boston Bruin fan.
All right. We're going to take another break here on the Glory Day Show. When we get back, we'll bring you some stories in our Did You Hear About segment. Stay with us. You're watching the Glory Day Show with Bruce and Disco, only on the Inravio TV network. We're coming right back.
What's up, guys? We're Scared No Fair, and we're here with Inravio. If they catch you at a show with one of these bracelets, you will win $100.
That's a lot of money.
So get a bracelet.
Do whatever it takes to get that. Hit them up online.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Inravio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Inravio.com. Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE, your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
This is Joe Larson. You should check out the 505 on Racing Show live every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or catch us on video on demand anytime, 24/7, only on the Inravio TV network.
Welcome back to the Glory Day Show with Bruce and Disco here on the Inravio TV network. Here on the Glory Day Show, we pride ourselves on keeping you, our sophisticated yet slightly twisted audience, informed of what's going on in the world of sports. We try to bring you interesting things that you might not have heard about from the mainstream media in a segment that we like to call Did You Hear About? Our booth is right on it again.
Beautiful.
All righty. So, story number one is about one of our favorite sports radio personalities here in the New York metropolitan area, Mike Francesa from WFAN. We've joined the cavalcade of people who make fun of him falling asleep or calling on callers or going on ridiculous rants. But this time he's in trouble for a supposed racial slur. Okay? The Supreme Court is ruling on whether or not an Asian American rock group from Oregon who call themselves the Slants can obtain a trademark on their group's name. The subject sneaked into Francesa's show this week, and now he's in trouble with the PC police. A caller brought up the subject because he was wondering if a ruling against a potentially offensive name in the rock and roll community could potentially affect legislation against sports teams with offensive names, kind of like the Washington Redskins, right?
I guess.
So here's what Francesa said that got him into trouble. Should I do the accent?
Please do.
No. Well, the feeling is that it's going to be the same answer to the same question. The only other debate is that they were talking about themselves. They were all Oriental Americans who were part of a group, a rock band. So do you know what the problem is with Francesa's answer?
I guess the use of Oriental.
Apparently, the term Oriental American is now considered offensive.
Wow.
And has been for the past year. The federal government banned the use of the racially charged word, along with the N-word, from federal law.
The N-word? What is that?
No.
Okay, no.
Later in the show, Francesa was informed of this blunder by his producer and had the same reaction, I think, that I would have had if somebody had said that to me. He said, "You're telling me that it's considered a slight if you call someone an Oriental American? What is the proper term now? What would not be a slight?"
Slant. I don't know.
When told that it was now proper to address them as Asian Americans, Francesa responded, "Oh, Asian Americans. So let's make that an Asian American band. If they would like me to say Asian American, all power to it. Whatever makes them happy." That kind of brings up a point I made on this very program a year or so ago. that we broadcasters and journalists, and that is what we are,
Yes.
need to know exactly what terms are considered offensive.
Remember they were those 7 words that...
The 7 dirty words, right?
Exactly right.
Why
isn't there a list like that?
I know what they are. It's, no. Only the group being targeted really knows what's offensive to them and how they would like to be addressed. So I proposed that every group,
I do remember this.
racial, immigrant, gender, religious, size, shape, they all get together and they kind of individually decide how they want to be addressed. In addition, we need to know...
Or don't want to be addressed.
Right, well, we want to know what 1 or 2... Give them 1 or 2 phrases.
Okay.
That they don't want anybody to use. But
Yeah.
what it should be is...
Taboo.
It has to be kind of like a cooperative effort.
Yes.
You can't just have one person saying that I don't want to be called this. It offends me. You know what I mean? It has to be something where they all get together. So...
I thought we were trying to make America great again, Disco.
Well, we are. And this is how we're going to make America great, because we need a set of rules, people of Earth. You can't like continually, you just can't arbitrarily decide that what offends you and expects the rest of us to know that, right?
True.
Okay. By the way, the Supreme Court ruled that the group had every right under the First Amendment to obtain a trademark. The ban was denied a trademark back in 2011 by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office because it deemed the word offensive. The ban fought it all the way to the Supreme Court, and they won. So why is the government getting involved in what is perceived as offensive?
It's a good question.
You know why? Because every little person that complains,
Now, let me
every
ask you a question.
snowflake...
Have you ever used that term?
Oriental? I would say yes, of course.
I know that I did. When I was working at St. Joe's,
I have Oriental rugs.
I got a new boss, and I was talking to my brother, and I said, you know, I have a new boss. She's Oriental, and he goes, is she a rug? He says, you don't use that word. No, you know.
But I didn't know. I really honestly didn't know.
I
didn't know that was considered offensive. I mean, I know that, you know, we have to call little people.
Yeah.
Which I think little people is worse than the other word, you know?
I think we should just call them short people.
Short people.
They got no reason to live.
They made a song out of it.
I know, exactly.
I don't know. I just think that hopefully, and this may be one of the things that this Trump White House is turning around. No more PC crap anymore. You know what? If you feel strong enough that you want to call the name of your group the Slants, go right ahead.
Tweet yourself away, man. You know? All right.
We're going to make America great again.
Of course we are. Okay, our next story brings us back to the NBA. Is there no limit to corporate greed in professional sports? There was a time when advertisements on an outfield wall were limited to bush leagues. Now there's barely a spot on a major league outfield wall on an NHL sideboard that isn't covered in some kind of corporate logo or advertisement. In both the NHL and the NBA, they're even using CGI. What's that? Computer generated graphics.
You look at that little photo there.
I didn't see that.
Oh, put that back up for a second. I wanted to, you know, if you're watching a game, an MSG game, they have the little thing on the back of the glass.
I've noticed that.
And the first time I said it, I said, well, how could they put that there? That's completely distracting. And then you realize it's a CGI.
It's just for the people that are watching the game. It's not for the people that are in the stadium. Now, there are now sponsors for things said during the game, like when a relief pitcher comes in or when the 15th batter comes to the plate, they mention Geico. Even a trip to the red zone in the NFL is sponsored by someone. Every NHL power play is sponsored by someone. Every starting lineup graphic in all sports is sponsored by something. And is there any stadium being built today that doesn't have a corporate name somewhere in the title?
Other than Yankee Stadium.
Okay. Because you answered your own question there, my friend. Now, the last bastion of commercial sponsorship in professional sports is gone. The NBA is allowing teams to sell advertising space on their game uniforms. Well, not quite like this, but close. Back in 2015, the NBA announced that teams could sell advertising space limited to a 2.5 inch square on the left shoulder of their game uniforms to a corporate sponsor for the 2017 season.
Actually, these are actual pictures of the of what the uniforms are going to look like with their little logo.
Even with a 2-year lead time, only 8 teams have actually reached deals with the sponsors, but they're going to make a ton of money for it, so most teams will follow suit. You should have expected teams that are not prominent or need the money to be the first in line, but one of the league's most storied and successful franchises is already on board. The dreaded Boston Celtics.
Right.
Okay. They got $7 million from General Electric, and they got them to change their logo color from blue to green to match the jerseys. Cleveland got $10 million for Goodyear. Philadelphia, Sacramento, Brooklyn, Cleveland, Utah, Boston, Minnesota, and Orlando will all be sporting sponsor uniforms this season.
That's a lot.
It is. It is a 3-year experiment, and the league may pull it in 2020, but that's not going to happen. This could be worth well over $100 million a year in revenue to the teams in the NBA. But let's take a step back to see what is happening in other professional sports leagues outside of the Big Four. NASCAR has always put in as many little logos as possible in drivers and on their cars.
You know, even like when you're looking at a NASCAR at a car, I mean, you can't tell, you can't read in that. First of all, the cars are going 200 miles an hour.
That's right.
What good are logos on the car? Anyway, sorry.
It's when they get the stills, I guess. Soccer and the WNBA have gone to completely corporate sponsored jerseys that they don't even have the team name on anymore. Do you know what the NBA teams are from and what city they're from?
Put that graphic up at a full screen there. Okay, these are two WNBA teams. You know, not that I watch the WNBA.
Yeah.
But I saw highlights. And every team has a uniform like this. And they all have a corporate sponsor or two on the front. But the team name isn't there.
Yeah, like the Liberty.
The city is, actually, that's the Liberty on the left, the light green color. Okay? And just unbelievable.
It is.
That you could have, this is supposed to be, forget it.
All right.
I'll wait.
Now that the genie is out of the bottle, is it really a stretch to think that this is what an NBA jersey will look like in the coming years?
Look at Carmelo Anthony there.
Let's see. Okay. By the way, the retail jerseys now being sold to the fans will not, and that's not with a capital letters, will not have the corporate logos.
Well, you know why? I was thinking about that. And I said, you know why? Because what if you bought a jersey that had GE on it, and then GE was no longer the sponsor? You'd have to go out and get a new jersey. So I'm surprised they didn't do it.
I don't know.
I mean, it's just that it's just, to me, it's ridiculous. These are professional sporting events.
Yeah.
These are, is it that? All right.
It's a money grab. It's always a money grab.
It's always
Disco.
a money grab. Everything is a money grab. And I think, personally, that nobody, I mean, and I'm a consumer, okay? I go to Met games all the time. I watch every game on TV except for the last 2 months when I'm not watching. No, and you're the same way. You've watched a lot of baseball, okay? Give me one advertiser on the outfield fence in Citi Field.
On the outfield fence?
Yeah, the outfield fence. There's about 12 of them.
I don't know. I would say I'm going to say Coke because I know
But
we get
you're
the Coke.
guessing.
Coke corner. No, I know it's Coke.
No, I mean, I'm talking about just on the outfield wall.
Yeah.
Do you know how much money those guys must pay for that? And you have no recollection of it.
No, that's right.
So what's the point? Do you know who sponsors the starting lineup? Or do you know, other than the Geico, because it's 15
Geico,
players and stuff like that? No, so I don't understand why these advertisers think it's a good idea to do this. I know why the teams are doing it.
You know why? It's a write-off.
It's a write-off. Do you know what a write-off is? Well, they do.
All right.
All right.
Think we're running out of time.
Are we out of time?
All right.
I have to start wrapping it up. All right. Well, you know what? I just think that it's getting to the point where if you're going to start putting logos, I know that the companies that have been making the uniforms have been putting their logos.
Yes.
The Nike swoosh on the football jerseys and Reebok. I know that the NHL jerseys are being sponsored by a new company this year. They're going to be slightly redesigned a little bit, and they're going to have the corporate logo on the jersey.
Again, it's a money grab, man. It always is a money grab.
But at least they're the people that design the uniforms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just being able to put McDonald's or something in the uniform, I don't like it at all. And you know what? Once the genie is out of the bottle...
Well, the genie is out of the bottle, isn't it?
Forget it, because they're going to find out how much money they could make, and the next thing you know, well, it's going to be just a little advertisement on the right shoulder, and then on the back, on the left shoulder, and then, on the bottom, maybe on the pant leg.
I thought some of these NHL players, NBA players, aren't there tattoos?
Well, they're not allowed to have a tattoo
huh?
with a corporate logo on it. They're not allowed to do it. Because the NBA players were saying, if when I'm wearing that thing, I could be a billboard for somebody.
Right. But that guy would get paid, and it's got to be the owners that get paid.
Right. Well, look at what the NFL did with a couple of the players who refused to wear the headphones. The Bose, I believe it was Bose, or whoever it is that has the corporate sponsorship, they didn't want to wear the headphones that the NFL wanted them to wear.
They wanted to take Dr. Dre's beats, I guess, right?
All right. So you know what? I say we get out of here.
I think it's time to go.
It's time for the closing thank yous.
Okay.
So, thanks to our producer, Anthony Mazzalo, and the new guy, Mark Ruggieri. Ruggieri, is that close enough? What?
All right. Close enough for rock and roll. Okay.
And for all the hard work and making us look so good out here. Thanks to Pete Torgerson for helping us out on the program today and for taking the time to talk with us, because he's always a good Joe.
He is.
Thanks again, Chuck and Bonnie, for putting up with this nonsense week after week and for allowing us to bring you this type of quality programming. And of course, thanks to you, our loyal viewers. Don't forget, you could check out the Glory Days on demand page at www.inravio.com, and you can watch any of our past shows or any of the other great shows on the Inravio TV network. I think we're going to go on hiatus for the summer.
Okay.
That's what we hope to do. And we're going to bring it back, we'll be back in September to begin our football extravaganza. And you can follow us on our Glory Days Facebook page over the summer as we post neat stuff about what's going on in the world of sports. And you could also check out my weekly column for the Massapequa Observer online at
MassapequaObserver.com.
Thank you for supporting the show, and until we meet again, stay safe and have a great summer. Thanks, everybody.
Hydrate yourself.